Hey everyone, it's time for a news dump.
The fact that MoviePass can still surprise us even while the entire business seems to be on indefinite hiatus, it really just drives home how poorly thought out and horrifically managed this company has been since it came bursting through the doors to disrupt the movie theater industry. Now, it's been over a month since MoviePass had announced that they needed to update their app, which apparently required weeks of downtime for some reason, and honestly, we're not even sure if it's back up or not because there's no information out there about it, but we would assume that it's not. I mean, their official Twitter account, it hasn't even been updated since late June, so we have no idea.
But, being knee-deep in your own self-dug grave, it's not stopping MoviePass from being front-page news thanks to any number of terrible business decisions. Because it was uncovered this week that when faced with the reality that people were actually using their service for its intended purposes, MoviePass just couldn't sit idly by and watch money quickly vacate its bank accounts. Something had to be done to stop these customers from expediting the company's impending doom. And they couldn't just close up shop or alert customers that there would be further restrictions on what they could or couldn't see, because as we've seen time and time again, failure just doesn't seem to be an option for this company. So they apparently did the only logical thing they could think of, intentionally locking people out of their MoviePass accounts by changing their passwords without notifying them.
Wow.
We fixed the glitch.
Brilliant. What could possibly go wrong? Also, apparently, this wasn't even a decision made by a lower-level employee who went rogue in order to save the company some money and impress the higher-ups. This decision, it came directly from the top.
Wow.
According to a recent article from Variety, who used reporting from Business Insider, big paywall right now, CEO Mitch Lowe ordered employees to change the passwords of users without their knowledge last year as the company temporarily ran out of funds. The report, citing former employees, also said the lack of funds led to Lowe making Mission Impossible Fallout unavailable on MoviePass that month, and ordering that half of subscribers be frozen out during the July 27th to 29th, 2018 opening weekend. Bold moves.
The report goes on to say, quote, Lowe made sure blockbusters would no longer be available on the app, and that MoviePass enforced a tripwire, an automatic shutdown mechanism for all users that would activate if the company's funds went below a specific monetary threshold. The threshold originally started at a few $1 million, but eventually was lowered to a few $100,000. So, yeah, basically as of July last year, MoviePass was secretly stopping its users from actually using their service the way it was meant to be intended, all without notifying any of their customers, and using shady, most likely illegal methods to do so.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Now, we'd say that this would be a pretty clean-cut case for a massive class action lawsuit, but at this point it's safe to assume that they have no money at all.
No.
And are almost certainly riddled with tons of debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, sue me. Go ahead.
What are you going to do?
See how far that gets you.
I do love the fact that they had, they used all of their tech innovation skills to develop a tripwire that would potentially save them money by locking customers out. All that R&D went into that instead of anything else.
Which is all just, it's so absurd. Their entire business model is, as we've gone over, built around just giving people money for free. But within that absurd business model, they're also like, well, we can't give too much money away.
Wow, we're giving a lot away.
There are limits to our generosity.
The real money is developing the tripwire tech that other companies can use to stop from going over a financial cliff.
Once we sell that tripwire tech, everything will get paid for again.
Taking the barrel off and putting some Dockers back on.
Meanwhile, if you have no plans this weekend, be sure to check out Gotti on VOD streaming services everywhere.
The other saving grace for MoviePass. At the very least, we wouldn't exactly count on MoviePass to come storming back into business with a hot new app and a service that would please its constantly dwindling subscriber base, especially after those customers find out how they've been screwed over, even worse than they initially expected by this company. But maybe they're all masochists. Who knows? Who knows?
Who know?
Not me, no. Still, as we say almost every time we report on this cursed company, we do have to thank them for falling on the knife and actually disrupting the old movie-going model, because if it weren't for MoviePass, we wouldn't have the movie subscription models available from the actual movie chains themselves. So again, thank you for your sacrifice, MoviePass. You have changed the way we see movies, just not through you anymore. It's over now. Time to let the company die and move on so you can go disrupt something else while wasting millions upon millions of dollars doing so. I think the tripwire tech is the next big thing for MoviePass.
Once we get this tripwire installed on our app, which is taking a while because...
We're going to call it the Low Bar after our CEO, Mitch Lowe.
Yeah. Anyway, while we're on the topic of industry disruptors, it's still a few months until Disney Plus changes the landscape of streaming services by offering access to its entire catalog of movies, shows, and upcoming exclusive programming. But as we move closer to November 12th, information and announcements regarding the service continue to pop up. And when it was first announced, we thought it was a pretty good deal, considering everything that you'll have access to. But we also worried about what would happen to Hulu, considering that Disney, at this point, essentially owns all of it. Well, thanks to an investor's call earlier this week, we know that Hulu is not only safe for the time being, but that Disney is planning a bundle that will provide customers with access to Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for just $12.99 a month? What?
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what Netflix costs right now if you're on the HD plan. That's crazy.
It's a lot of content. So,
Like MoviePass is the ultimate example of this, but like so much of modern startup capitalism is built around literally not making a profit on a product for years and just trying to expand your user base at a loss. And then eventually being like, all right, we got bills. Let's jack everything back up.
Another great recent example of that is the fact that Uber just posted a multi-billion-dollar loss this past quarter.
Uber has never made money.
Yeah, but there was a great article that was like, with just the money that Uber lost this quarter, and they listed a bunch of like actual public transportation projects that could have been paid for by just the loss. Just the loss.
Yeah.
Anyways, move fast and break things, am I right? This Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus plan, it comes with the standard version of Hulu, which gets you access to episodes from any number of channels supported by the service, but you'll also have ads on everything. Still, I think, a decent price. ESPN Plus, though, it's not the traditional ESPN that you might think of from regular TV, but it is a decent add-on for the included price geared towards big sports enthusiasts who enjoy the limited amount of live events or pre-produced content available there. I watch it exclusively because it's where you can see all the Major League Soccer games.
Do they have esports?
They probably do. I haven't checked. I literally just watch soccer on there. But they do have MLB sometimes. It's not nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not nothing. Now, there is no word yet on whether or not Disney will create higher-tiered bundles, which may include Hulu service with no ads or Hulu Live TV. But we would imagine that Disney Plus would just be available as an add-on to those services as soon as it becomes available. Like, if you have Hulu Live TV, it's just like, oh, for $6 here, you can have Disney Plus on it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So many services. I hate it. It's too complicated. This was supposed to simplify my life.
Nope. It's getting even worse than cable.
Yeah. Now, over on the dark side of Disney, though, it appears that the company has finally finished ripping the guts out of Fox after the recent merger. And according to them, this is mainly because of Dark Phoenix, which was responsible for adding a $170 million operating loss to Disney's budget. In response to this, Disney is taking the axe to pretty much all of Fox's remaining development slate after 2020, except for James Cameron's multiple Avatar sequels and some Planet of the Apes movies thrown in there too.
We got to keep those.
We need those apes. In addition to this, it looks like Kevin Feige will officially gain complete control of all the Marvel properties that were owned by Fox, including the X-Men and Deadpool. And those characters will operate under the Marvel Studios banner going forward if and when they actually decide to utilize them.
Which maybe not at
I
all.
don't think we'll have to wait too long.
Yeah. Probably not.
It would also be safe to assume that in the not too distant future, the Fox brand will slowly just cease to exist, except for Fox News, which was not part of the merger and will continue to bring you hard-hitting journalism like this.
All right, it's the latest item on the chopping block for climate change activists. Best animation ever.
Wow. Great, hard-hitting content. And while we're here, I might as well recommend one of my favorite Twitter accounts, No Context Fox News.
Oh, cool.
Just screen grabs of similarly hard-hitting journalism.
Yeah. The clip's actually way funnier, but we couldn't play the music because it's copyright protected, obviously.
So Fox, RIP, a nearly 100-year-old movie studio brought down by one terrible X-Men movie.
It was all Dark Phoenix's fault. And you guys bitched about fucking Ghostbusters. Come on. Anyways, before we get into a few more entertainment news tidbits from this past week, we have an update to a story that we covered on this channel yesterday. And in case you missed that video, which you can just watch by clicking our channel name, we'd appreciate the view. We spoke about a new policy that Walmart had enacted in response to what we can assume was obviously uninformed pressure from both the government and general public in the wake of recent mass shootings. Here's a short version. Walmart sent out notifications to its employees that instructed them to remove any marketing or signs that promoted any video games that they would deem violent, quote unquote, and that the employees would also have to turn off video game demo stations in order to protect the public from the greatest threat to our society.
Well, for a decent amount of time on Friday afternoon, it looked like Walmart had already taken things a few steps further, because it was reported that they had decided to just stop selling video games in their stores entirely if those games were deemed to be violent, in whatever interpretation Walmart decides that to mean.
Yes.
There were Twitter posts that showed an almost entirely empty gaming aisle, and then IGN reported on the story and added that they'd gotten a response confirming the reports that they'd halted game sales. But once the article went live and was quickly being shared across social media and getting my blood pumping, Walmart contacted IGN again to say that there was a miscommunication and that they had not given any directive to remove video games from the shelves.
Yes. So what's with all the missing games then? Well, the whole story overall is kind of confusing because it just overlaps the original story about removing signage and demo stations. And we assume that Walmart employees could have assumed themselves by reading the initial notice that they were to remove video games from cases and shelves. Technically, they're not wrong because the cover art for the games could certainly be considered marketing or signage. So it's probably just It is just a big miscommunication within the stores. That's what I would put my money on.
Maybe they'll do what they did in the EU with cigarettes, where there's like a giant opaque door, and you have to you're like, can I see him? And they're like, no. Tell me what you want. I'll tell you if we got it. Maybe they'll start doing that.
Or they put bloodied victims from mass shootings on the covers of games and have notices that say, warning, this game may cause mass violence.
I shouldn't laugh at that, but that's
what they have on cigarettes everywhere else around the world.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll give Walmart the benefit of the doubt on this one, considering that their initial notice suggested an immediate response from their workers, and those workers probably either misread the orders or assumed, better be safe than sorry, and just took everything down because they didn't want to get fired over a mistake like this and, have to live in their car for the rest of their life until they die because they can't pay for insulin.
Beautiful country.
So for now, you can apparently still walk into a Walmart and buy your games there, but you probably shouldn't because Walmart sucks.
Yeah. There's
many reasons why.
That's the big picture takeaway here is Walmart's not good.
The only thing they're good for is employing the elderly who get too lonely after retirement and need a place to wave at people.
That is a nice thing that they do. I'll give them points for that. Everything else, though, very bad.
Yeah.
And bad in the same way that Amazon and a lot of other companies are bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, over to actual movie news now. Looks like we're officially getting a sequel to last year's cinematic triumph, Venom. And according to Slash Film, Andy Serkis, the Monkey Man himself, will be directing it.
Did you ever see Venom?
No.
Fucking Christ, it's so good. All right.
In an interview with Serkis about taking the reins of this project, he said, I'm right at the beginning stages. I've got some very clear ideas about the journey I'd like to see visually and how we can take the characters into another dimension. 40X, baby, here we come. He also added that Tom Hardy is confirmed to return for the sequel to reprise his role, adding, Tom is very involved with the writing with Kelly Marcel of the new story, so it's very much centered around their take, and that he's known Tom for many years and always admired him hugely as an actor and producer. We've always wanted to work together directly. I'm deeply excited to work with Tom Hardy and to work with all the great actors who are involved in it. It's a fantastic franchise. I'm really honored to have been asked to direct it, and it feels like it's a very contemporary story. I think it's going to be, hopefully, an extraordinary piece of cinema.
It certainly will, no matter what.
He is hyping this up.
Hey, you haven't seen it. You don't know how fantastic this movie is. For all the wrong reasons. But all the right reasons, too. It's absurd, and it's entirely watchable.
I grew out of my Mystery Science Theater phase when I was 14, so I think I'm good.
You'll like it.
But yeah, we have no idea when this movie will be released. Ricky's glad it exists.
Thanks.
I have no opinion on the matter.
No. Now, in lieu of trailers this week, we have something far greater for you to spend your time watching because Adult Swim recently released a 10-hour-long video featuring Joe Pera where he soothes you to sleep with his calm voice and storytelling. Now, it might obviously take more than a few late-night watches to get through the entire thing, but that's the whole point of it. And if the video weirds you out more than calms you down, just check out the actual series Joe Pera talks with you on Adult Swim because then you'll be better understanding of the level of comedy that we're dealing with here. You gotta kind of tiptoe into it, but it's fantastic.
I I think the man is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think the show is one of the best things Adult Swim has done in years.
Yep.
It's just so different than anything anyone's doing right now.
Very wholesome, very amazing.
Wholesome, sincere,
Yeah.
family friendly for the most part.
Yeah, you'll love it. Anyways, watch the show and then come watch the, start watching it. You know, maybe 30 minutes a night.
Yeah.
You get put to sleep, wake up, do the next 30 minutes the next night.
I put this on and like, I gotta turn this off.
Yeah,
I'm about to fall asleep here in my desk chair.
It's the Joe Pera Talks to You is one of our favorite shows in Adult Swim. If you're like us, you'll love it too.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And the season one's like literally 45 minutes long.
Yeah,
So
you can get through it.
You can do the whole thing in one sitting.
Also, Squidbillies just premiered, the new season of Squidbillies.
I cannot believe that's still on, but great to hear it.
Yep.
Anyways, that's it for this week's entertainment news. Stay tuned for a new episode of Weekly Weird News coming soon. But in the meantime, be sure to check out our exclusive weekly podcast by signing up for our Patreon using the link below in the description.
Do it.
Join up now for $5 or more a month and get access to all of our previous episodes and future ones. Also, check out our most recent videos over there. There's another one about Walmart and ESPN censoring gaming, and then a deep dive into the feral hog epidemic that's ruining our great nation.
Yeah, very serious.
Yeah. What a week for videos.
Wow. Very politically charged, very aggressive.
Yeah.
Lots of defense mechanisms put up around me.
Yeah.
Anyways, check all those out. We'll see you guys very soon for Weekly Weird News.
Bye-bye.
Bye.